Internships are one of those things where everyone wants them to gain experience, but a company won't hire you until you get experience. But how are you supposed to get experience if a company won't hire you? So it's this never-ending cycle where everyone is just thirsty for internships, but no one can get one.
Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I will be talking about all the ways that you can get an internship as a college student. So the number one most effective way to get an internship, in my opinion, is to go to your school's on-campus recruitment events. So oftentimes companies will have target schools or schools that they will essentially target and focus their recruitment events towards. And the reason why they do this is because they like the quality of alumni and the quality of employees that come from that school. So there's kind of this mutual relationship where the school really likes these students and the students want to work for this company. And oftentimes companies will host a bunch of events and info sessions where employees, recruiters, and alumni can come and you can interact with them directly and give them your resume. And sometimes the school will even host on-campus interviews through your school's career center. And this is by far more effective than like applying online because you get to create this like personal one-on-one relationship. So something I didn't know until college was the concept of freshman and sophomore leadership conferences. During your first and your second year, companies know that you don't have much experience yet, so they kind of have these like exploratory programs, and you can just come and network with employees and different students who have similar career interests as you. But sometimes there will be an on-site interview for you to recruit for your third year internship. So your third year internship is arguably the most important in college because that internship will typically convert to a full-time offer if the company likes you. And companies are recruiting earlier and earlier every year. Through these freshman and sophomore leadership programs, you are getting to know the company, but the company is also getting to know you as a candidate and kind of investing in you at an early age for you to work for them during your third year. So this is a great way to recruit because the barrier of entry is lower to get into these programs. From my experience, I often just had like a phone interview and I just had to do a couple of personal statements and essays, and then I got admitted into these conferences. Versus a regular internship, you probably have to go through various rounds with managers and analysts, but at the end of the day, they kind of produce the same result, which is an internship. So something really similar to these freshman and sophomore conferences are super days. And super days are basically the same thing where a company will send you to a conference or send you to some hotel or their office, and you kind of just have back-to-back interviews with managers and employees, and at the end of the conference they will let you know if you have an offer or not. Super days are really similar to these conferences because oftentimes you just have to send in your resume and like an essay of why you want to work for this company, and once you get admitted, it's basically just an expedited recruitment process where over a weekend you can have all these interviews and leave with an offer. Another thing to note about super days is typically they're not catered to like a certain year in college. Like these freshman and sophomore programs are catered just for underclassmen. But I know some super days where you can attend as third years or as fourth years, but just make sure you read the description to see what they're looking for. The fourth way to get an internship is probably the most popular, and it's to get a referral. So I don't want to spend too much time on this because I feel like it's pretty self-explanatory. Basically, if you know someone from a company or a friend's parent works at a company, they can refer you or name drop you to the hiring manager, and that will typically just land you a first round internship so you don't have to go through like the resume screening. Personally, when I was in college, I felt like my network was vast enough where I can just like get a referral at any company that I wanted. If you feel this way too, just keep watching, and there's a bunch of other ways for you to get an internship as well. So something that's also really similar to a referral that I kind of learned about in college is getting a job passed down to you. This is essentially the same thing as referral, but on a more like drastic scale. I know some organizations, especially like the business ones, people will literally pass down their job to you if they like you. I know some companies, they don't want to go through the trouble of paying to have the job postings on all these platforms. They will literally just ask the person who previously held the position, hey, who's someone who can take over your role because I trust you, you're a good worker, so find a replacement. I personally experienced this in a couple of my jobs, so I would highly recommend to get involved as early as possible because then you can meet these individuals who would potentially pass down their job to you. So another great way to recruit is through diversity programs. So diversity programs such as MLT, Modern Guild, or Jumpstart will basically cater toward underrepresented minorities or people who kind of fall in a certain income bracket, or there's a bunch of criteria you kind of have to like research on the website. If you fall into whatever criteria that they say, you can get admitted into their program. These companies have special partnerships with these top companies like banking, consulting, tech companies, and you can recruit through their pipeline. So basically it's kind of like another network that you're a part of, and it's a great way to get your resume seen because you're going going through this like unique diversity pipeline that only certain people can go through versus cold applying on like the company's website. So another thing that's kind of unique to certain universities are co-op programs. So co-ops are very similar to internships, but they kind of just have a longer duration, and internships usually take place over summer while co-ops can take place during the school year or could even be like a year long. I know some schools like Northeastern, they have like specific co-op programs and they have like partnerships with companies around them, but co-ops are also a very great way to land a job or land an internship. I don't know too much about it because my school didn't have that program, but it's just another keyword that you can search for when you're recruiting, and I think the opportunities are just as great. So the next way to get an internship is pretty self-explanatory, and it's just to go to your school's career fairs. So I kind of have a love-hate relationship with career fairs because one, I feel like they're really crowded and you typically have to wait in these long lines and you don't really get that much face time with recruiters because there's so many people. At the same time, this is probably one of the only times where you will actually be able to see a mass amount of recruiters in one location. So I still recommend that you go just because you get to talk and meet with so many different people, and it's just a good experience to learn how to network and learn how to sell yourself. But I wouldn't recommend this to be the sole way that you recruit because it can be really overwhelming. The most popular way to probably get an internship is through cold applying. Cold applying is when you go to a company's website or you kind of just apply online, and basically you just send in your resume and you fill out the form and you're done. I haven't had too much success with cold applying just because there's not really anything that kind of makes you stand out when you cold apply because you're competing with so many people. Basically anyone who has access to the internet, you are competing with them. So cold applying is probably one of my least favorite ways to recruit, but I still think it's worth it because I have had some interviews come from cold applying and I feel like it doesn't hurt. Like some people literally land their dream job just by sending in their resume online. The last way to get an internship is just by creating your own. I know this sounds really ridiculous, but seriously, sometimes it works. I know during my freshman year, I was struggling to find an internship, and one of my friends literally just cold emailed a bunch of people at this like one finance firm that she really wanted to work at, and I guess one of the employees really liked her resume and they like essentially created an internship for her, which is pretty crazy. I know it's kind of intimidating to do that, but like just be kind of shameless and just mass send your resume out and just kind of sell yourself through an email. I will link another article in the description box about how to send cold emails effectively. I think this is a great way to get an internship if you are someone who doesn't have too much experience yet. I know a lot of people who kind of started off doing pro bono or free social media and marketing work for smaller companies and that later converted to a paid internship position. So don't be afraid to work for free if you are someone who's a little bit younger and doesn't have that much work experience yet. Okay guys, that wraps up my video. Hopefully you guys found this helpful. If you did, be sure to subscribe, leave a comment, and like this video so I know to make this kind of content more in the future. So thank you guys so much for watching. Bye!